Okay, so sometimes you're going to grab a bar, you're going to come down to the beach, you'll let it out, ready with your students, and then as you let it out, you go to attach to the kite and realise that you've got loops and loops and knots and knots, so obviously those lines aren't going to attach. What you don't need to do is pack it all up and go and get another bar. What we can do is we can just change the pigtails over. So they, as you should know, are these bits at the end of the lines. Occasionally you're going to find them stitched on, but most of the time they should be like this one, detachable. So you can see they're just fixed on those double loops. You just take the line, the pigtail, pull it apart. So you can see this is the one with the knot on it. This is actually a loop knot. On the back line here, as you can see, there is just the loop. So that's how much you want to switch over. So we can now take this one out, it's fixed on exactly the same. Just take that off. Switch it over with that knot that we had on the front line. So with this we just hook that through and then over the top. All good. Okay, and then with the front line, exactly the same. You can then just push that through, push that back through there, and that's changed our pigtails over. So now our back line now has a knot, our front line has a loop. You might find this if you're flying something like an RRD kite or a North kite, that the standard lines you use in the centre will have to be switched over to be this way around. Obviously you'll also have to do the other two lines, so switch the two grey lines around as well. That's that fixed on. You will sometimes find you'll end up with a kite like this, which the liquid force bars actually have loops on one and then a loop and a knot on the other. So this allows you to fly from things like old best kites. So if you're doing a beach flying, ones where they have all knots on the kite and you need all loops on the bar. So best kites and F1 kites. New best kites you don't need that, but that's what you're using those for. Okay, cool.
Just do the line adjustments.
So, yeah. Other times you're then going to have your kite set up, you go to launch it, and the bar's just sitting off at an angle. It's not sitting flat. It's not actually the outside lines that are usually uneven. It's normally actually the two front lines. Best thing to do is to land your kite. Make sure you've untrimmed your kite so it's not depowered or anything like that. All those trimmer straps sorted out. Have one person hold the bar. And then what we're going to do is the two outside lines first, just to check them. They're usually the equal ones. Occasionally they're not. So you're going to be pulling those and you see these two are nice and equal. So then we're going to check those front lines. These two front lines, check them. As you can see, this one on my right hand is a little bit shorter. There's a few ways that we can adjust this. There's the knots down at the bar end, which we'll go through in a second. The other, often simpler option is actually to put some pressure, pull slightly on this bar. So let the person know down the other end. So it's going to pull this one, and I'm just going to give it a bit of a pull. Not too hard, it actually stretch a lot easier than you think. And then pull them tight again, and now they're equal.
Let's go down to the bar end.
Okay.
Okay, there's just another way of trimming a kite, and sometimes there could be unevenness in the lines. As you can see from here, you can adjust your lines from this end as well. Now they're not always exposed like this kite. Sometimes they're hidden underneath the floats. These are the floats under here. These adjustments may be hidden under here. You'll pull the float apart and then adjust it exactly the same way, and it is very simple. You literally just loosen that knot off exactly the same as you would adjusting it any. Put it up, move it down to the next knot, and then move it along, and that will help adjust it. Now you can use it for trimming, so it'll trim the back lines in a little bit tougher if you want it for higher or lower winds. You can also make your own knot in there if it's not quite right and you want to adjust it. But whatever you do, I suggest you put it back at the end of the lesson to what it was, so that you can readjust them and stretch them out again, so that, because the next day is not going to be the same as today. So if you make adjustments for trim, please reset them back again for the next day so they're on the standard setting for everybody else.